Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the episode of Tatami Talk. My name is Juan. This is my partner Anthony. This is a judo podcast for judo players by two judo players. And before I get started, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus for the rest of us. And Anthony, is there anything else we should celebrate?
I don't know. You're talking to the wrong person. Like, I don't know any. The only thing I recognize there was Hanukkah and Christmas. And even then, I don't actually know when Christmas is.
Well, technically, this will come out the week of Christmas, I believe, this episode. Or the week before Christmas. Whatever. It's going to be this pretty much our Christmas episode. Next one's our New Year's episode.
I don't know if I talked about it last year when we had recorded somewhere around this time, but why the reasoning behind why I never know when Christmas is. I just know it's December 20 something.
December 25th. Yes.
It's 25th.
Yes.
Okay.
Every year it's the same day, just like Thanksgiving.
Well, it's always because as a kid, it's there's Boxing Day, and I always thought Boxing Day was like Mike Tyson.
Yes, yeah.
Like Boxing Day. Yeah. But when I lived in Hong Kong, there was like Boxing Day, but many years later on, I was like, oh, maybe Boxing Day is like for either boxing the presents or unboxing the presents. I don't know. What do they call it? Unboxing Day now? Then
unboxing. They call it Amazon Prime Day now, I thought.
Amazon Prime Day. But I'm like, yeah, what makes sense? It takes a lot of time to box the gifts beforehand. So Boxing Day, I assume, comes before Christmas Eve. But then when people say Christmas Eve, is that like the night before Christmas, or is it the night of Christmas?
It's Christmas night. It's the night before Christmas.
So it's the night before Christmas.
Yes.
Then what is the night of Christmas then?
So Christmas Day. So you got Christmas Eve, and you wake up Christmas Day.
Yeah. And then what's that?
There's still Christmas Day, I think. I know there isn't. I know there's a thing for it. No, there is. There is a thing for it. I can't remember what it's called now.
I would call it Christmas Eve. It's so confusing. When people say Christmas Eve, I'm just like, okay, so it's like Christmas and then the night, right?
I hate people go, oh, it's Christmas Eve. I'm like, Christmas Eve? What do you
why not just call that Christmas Eve and then the night before Christmas, just call that the night before Christmas? And there's even a movie about it. So well,
it was the night before Christmas and all through the house. Not a creature was stirring, not even Anthony trying to do Chicomis and bother his wife.
Yeah. So between that Boxing Day, and then I think I figured out, I'm so confused. I don't think Boxing Day was actually,
wasn't Boxing Day after Christmas? Isn't like the day after?
First. Okay. I just looked it up. First weekday after Christmas. Why is it the first weekday after Christmas? I don't understand. That makes absolutely no sense.
It would either, this is just this BS theory right now. It's either A, because you're supposed to box everything back up, put it away, or B, it's when you take stuff back that you don't want.
Okay.
I don't know.
So basically the Wikipedia says nobody knows, but one of the explanations that it came from the Middle Ages, and it was the tradition may come from a custom in late Roman or early Christian era where alms boxes placed in churches were used to collect special offerings. So I guess like if you get gifts that you didn't want, you put it in the box at the church. I don't know.
That's what I just said right now. Returning gifts. Well, it's like, here's a funny thing. So in Japanese culture, I learned this. When they put up their New Year's decorations, you have to put them away like the next day or something, or women. This is the sexist thing right here. Women have to put them away the next day, or else they won't get married. That's one way to get people to do what they're supposed to. Well, tradition states that if you don't put away your New Year's decorations the very next day, you're not going to get married.
Yeah, that's I'm just like really confused by that. But anyway, so December 24th is Christmas. 25th. And what's 24th? Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully I'll remember next year. But yeah, this is why I don't do dates very well. So.
All right. But like I said to everybody, happy holidays, whatever you're celebrating. Just I hope everyone's doing well, happy, healthy, get what you want for Christmas. If you don't get what you want for Christmas, just buy it yourself, And that's how Anthony rolls. If you guys don't know, him and his spouse don't give gifts. They just buy what they want.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's so much economic waste and forced gift giving, basically.
You don't like giving someone a gift and seeing the joy in their face when they open it, or the agony of that this is not what I wanted.
I'm looking at my closet right now, and I told you I have visitors coming. I have to clean up, and I have gifts that I have wedding gifts that I had to donate, and I felt bad about it. Oh, my dog just came in.
I'm scared right there. She's here.
I thought my wife came home. I was like, oh shit.
No.
Yeah, so there's gifts from white elephant parties, and all white elephant gifts are trash usually, and that's the point apparently. I never understood that, but
I don't give. If I go white elephants, I don't give trash. I try to give interesting things, so I hope it's not trash, but they might be trash to some people. I don't know, but I try to give interesting stuff.
Yeah, I had to get wedding gifts given away, and white elephant gifts donated or just thrown in the trash, and that's just like stuff that's going in a landfill, and then when it comes to returning stuff, that's just more gasoline and stuff like
don't throw it away. Don't do that.
I have a pretty small house, so I can't fit that much stuff in it, and but that's why on my wedding invitation, we actually said, please do not buy us anything. If you want to give us anything, donate to these charities. So there was 3 charities were listed, and surprisingly most people, there's some people donated, but surprisingly a lot of people just chose not to give anything, which is funny. I thought, but none of that have a problem with it, because a lot of people flew to go to our wedding, which I think is a gift in itself. But
isn't that the rule? If it's a destination wedding, you don't have to give them a gift. Attending is the gift.
Define destination wedding.
Anything out of state. All right.
Okay. So you see, like, we have family on the East Coast, so it was an East Coast wedding. So I guess people who came from like Texas or California, I guess it's destination. But for me, when you say destination wedding, I'm thinking out of the country.
Like you going to India.
Yeah, that's a destination wedding. Or I went to the Bahamas one time for a wedding.
Did you get him a gift?
No.
You cheap bastard.
You know how expensive it was? And I do not recommend going to Bahamas for a wedding, by the way. Like I told you the story last night.
We had a story last night about it, yes.
So I mean, there was like 4 or 5 people that ignored our invitation and basically bought us gifts anyway. And those are the things that I had to throw out. It's like, basically.
Don't throw it away. Give it to somebody else. Regift it.
And that's why I said I would do with certain things. But
that's the thing I hate throwing away stuff. Like, I'm not like a clutter person, but I hate if somebody has use in it. I still I could use this one, especially me since I'm a working actor. It's so hard for me to throw away clothes. It's like, I might use this one day for this TV show. I might do an 80s shows. I might keep this shirt again. So I hate throwing away stuff. One white elephant party, I got a beach blanket for like laying on a beach. It was sat in my closet for like 3 years. Like I actually don't go to the beach that often because of how busy I am, even though I live pretty damn close to the beach. Yeah. I sat in my closet for 3 years before, I think it was right towards the end of the COVID lockdowns. I went to the beach and I pulled it out and used it. And it was like the worst beach blanket I've ever freaking used. So I ended up throwing it away anyway. I'm just like, I stored it in the house for like 3 years for no reason. You could donate to a homeless shelter instead of throwing it away.
When I say throwing away, I mean donate. Like,
okay, fine, yeah. Good. All right. Yeah. All right. Now that's enough about us and our dumb stuff of our holidays. So if you followed us on our Instagram, our social medias, you follow Hollywood Judo, you would see that the past week we had a visitor come visit us. We had the new USA Judo coach, Robert Eriksson, come visit us. And if some of you know him or don't know him, he was a Swedish coach for 20 years. He was ranked top 3 in the world. What was it, like last year?
He was voted top 3 in the world.
Voted top 3 in the world and stuff.
I was like, how do you rank coaches?
Winning percentages, medals,
No, I thought you just throw them in a ring and
just throw them in a ring. Free for all. A Royal Rumble of Judo. Get out there, coaches. But yeah, it was really cool having him at the dojo. Like I said, he was ranked top 3 in the world by IJF. He had some guys go to the Olympics, did really well. And for the size of a country that Sweden is, it's just really amazing what he did. So the USA Judo brought him to the US. They're setting him up in, was it North Carolina, is it?
Yes, or the new Olympic Training Center, which correct me if I'm wrong, but it was what the hell is that famous? Is it University of North Carolina? It's either
I
that
don't
or
know. Maybe, most
Duke.
likely.
One of those big universities that are partnering with them, I heard.
So just remember, North Carolina, put your hands up if you show me. You got it. You got it. So it was really cool having him come over and do a workout with us at our dojos. He's been going to a lot of dojos in the LA area.
Yeah, I just went on his Instagram and I saw all the places that he went to. And Philippe is friends with him. So he told me how he basically went to he's doing a tour around the US to all the clubs, basically. So I don't feel that special anymore. But,
oh man, I thought we were special having him come over to us. Yeah. Next thing I know, he's at Olymp, and then I see him at whatever other
LA Judo Club, and then
LA Judo Club. Yeah, he was at LA Judo Club. But it's funny because Philippe, our sensei Philippe, does know him, and not a couple now. Like I want to say, more than 5 years ago, probably more than that. Mm-hmm. We had a small group of members go over there and train with them, and train with the national team. We had
it had to have been like at least 8 years ago when that.
Yeah, happened. more than that. I want to say 10, but I think 10 might be too long. But it actually might be 10 years ago. We sent a team there to train with them. So it's just cool now that he's out here. Maybe he'll come to our dojo more often, and we're hoping that sooner or later we might get him on the show. Hopefully, it'd be interesting to talk to him, pick his brain about his thoughts of coaching internationally in Sweden, now coaching internationally in the US, and what's his plan and hope with the US team, what to do with them.
Yeah, I think Philippe asked for us. I didn't even think about it. I thought he'd just be too busy or not interested. And apparently he knows of the show, so hopefully that was my reaction. I was like, oh no.
Well, he used you as
he used me as a uke. I'm like, oh no, here comes the leg lock.
Well, here's the he did compliment my judo a lot. He was like, he liked my throws a lot. Oh, very good. I like that.
He said you had a good hip, is what you said.
Yeah. I got good hips. So yeah, the hips don't lie. But it was funny because when he first started demonstrating, he was using a visitor that didn't know our style, didn't know our system, because we train Philippe. We know Philippe's style. We know Philippe teaching. Yeah. We know the Swedish ways. So
I don't want you to give off a wrong impression that the visitor was bad. Like, no, he was.
No, the visitor wasn't bad. He just wasn't. He didn't know where if he would have grabbed you or me, like we would have had more of an easy flow.
In the end, I think he picked me because I was taller, so it was easier to do certain things without having to go super low.
Well, he went with Eric a little bit because he knew Eric, because Eric went to his clinic last time he was out here. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was really cool having him there. We did a lot of different exercises. I got some more ideas of how to do some warm up, certain things, and things that I already do and things that you already do. It's just like more confirmation of what we're doing is right, you know?
Yeah, I was surprised when we did the warm up drills. I'm like, hey, this is like similar to what I've been saying, which is not doing push-ups and squats. And
no, you are doing push-ups, but in a dynamic way that's towards your judo. Okay, not just static push-ups.
Yep. So that was definitely interesting. But it'll be nice to have him on. So if anyone skipped made it past our rambling about Christmas, leave it in this comment, or maybe just email us what questions you'd like us to ask. I did ask some questions at the end of class, but I felt like I asked the wrong questions in the end, because he made a good point. Like, he's not really a teacher, he's a coach. Mm-hmm. So he's working with athletes that should already have a baseline of judo skills. Mm-hmm. So I asked some questions that was more targeted towards like people who are both coaches and teachers, or mostly teachers, because that's what we deal with usually. So just keep that in mind if you're gonna want us to ask me questions. That don't ask like, how do I teach osotogari to like kids, kind of thing. So, yep.
All right. So yeah, that was really cool having him on the show. I mean, I hope we do get him on the show, but it's really cool just having the dojo and stuff. And he'll be here for Winter National as well, so he'll be watching us there. Oh, you're not going to Winter National? I forgot.
No, yeah, I was gonna go to the referee's clinic, but like my back's been hurting a lot every time I sit in the car. Since I came back from my trip to East Coast, which we could talk about that too if you want, but my back's been hurting, and then yesterday Scotty landed on me or something and bruised my rib, so it hurts to breathe. Oh yeah,
Scotty's fault. Blame it all on Scotty.
I just decided I'm just gonna not go to the referee's clinic. there'll be no other chances. So I have friends visiting, and it's just going to be too much to go back and forth from here to Azusa. So, yeah, I'm not going to be in Winter Nationals.
So sad. I will be there though. I'm technically right now cutting weight to make my 90 kilos, which shouldn't be that
That's why
hard.
you look so red.
That's why I look so red right now. Actually, I got the heater on in the house right now. I have hot stuff on my body and face. I'm sweating.
What do they call that? Red light therapy is what they call it.
Yeah, I got some red light therapy on me right now, just burning us all off on a liquid diet of green tea and oolong. Is it oolong or what's this other Chinese tea I'm drinking right now? Just like clean out my system, you know, make it a little easier to cut weight. So you'd mentioned a little bit about how you were at the East Coast. I remember when you're out there, you're like, oh man, I'm going to miss Robert's thing, man. I'm going to miss him by a day. It's like, Anthony, he'll be at our dojo next week.
Yeah. I didn't know he was going to be there, but I saw on I went to High Noon Judo, which is Chris Round's place. I didn't know Robert Erickson was going to be there. I just was having Thanksgiving dinner with my family, like late Thanksgiving dinner on a Thursday, I think. Wait, Thanksgiving is not always on a Thursday, right?
No, it's always on a Thursday.
It's always on a Thursday. Okay.
But it's always on a Thursday, but you were a week late.
Yeah. Okay. So I was having late Thanksgiving dinner on a Thursday with my in-laws family. Then I was looking at Instagram and like, oh, he's like right where I am right now. And that's when I know I've missed him by like 2 days, but I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be there anyway. But High Noon, I was so surprised at how nice their facility is.
Really?
Yeah, it was really nice. It was kind of a trek for me to get there because I'm not exactly close. I spent like $40 on a Lyft ride. Uber?
Lyft. Oh, Lyft.
I don't use Uber.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You got a horse and buggy with you. What? You should rent a scooter. Just rent the scooter. Go all the way out there.
It was like a $40 Lyft ride to get there. But yeah, it was interesting because I'm not going to dive too much into it, but Chris also he showed up late, so he had one of his brown belt students run class, and they were really knowledgeable and really technical. I was like really impressed. So they were clearly using some constraints-led approach stuff. So funny enough, I realized Chris and I work for the same company.
Oh, really?
Yes. Huh. There's another gentleman there that I kept looking at him through our practice. I'm like, you look so familiar. I don't know where you're from. And at the end of the class, I'm like, do I know you? Were you like at a tournament in Texas before or something? And if you say, no, I've never been outside the state for a tournament. So, and I didn't start judo when I lived in DC. So I just could not tell where he was. So I asked, oh, do you work for this company? The one that I work for. And he was like, no. And then Chris was like, oh, I work for them. So since I came back, I went on my work laptop and I messaged him and we were talking about some training stuff. So it was an interesting discussion. And yeah.
No, continue to go on.
Oh, yeah. And before I did that judo training session, I think it was the day after I arrived. So I was clearly jet lagged. I got invited by my in-laws neighbor who does BJJ down the street.
Yes. I was just about to ask you about this
one. So he was like, well, I go to work, so I only do the morning classes. I'm like, okay, how early is it? It's like 6 a.m. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go because I've been talking about it for a while.
Now, let's stop right there. So let's think about this, people. Anthony just went on a flight to the East Coast. I remember we live on the West Coast, LA. All right. All the way. We're at the ocean. Okay. The edge of the Western world. He's going to all the way to the East Coast. Jet lag from that. Remember, it's a 3 hours.
It's a 3 hour behind. We are.
Yeah, it's a 3 hour difference. And now he's going to go do a BJJ class at 6 in the morning when his body is going to think it's 3 in the morning.
3 in the morning.
Where his body's going to think it's 3 a.m. and he's getting up around 2 a.m. or earlier to go do this.
So
how'd that work out for you, Anthony?
I don't think it would have been that bad if the fact that I didn't sleep at all before my flight, because I had to leave at 4 a.m. to the airport, and I was trying to wrap up some dojo stuff because I know I wasn't going to be around, so I was wrapping up some dojo administrative stuff, and then my own like work administrative stuff. So I went to sleep at like 1 a.m. and then I woke up at 4, and then we went to the airport for a 8 a.m. flight. Got there, I think we didn't arrive until like 5 p.m. And then we had dinner and I went to sleep at 9 p.m. And then I had to wake up the next morning at 5 a.m. because he was going to pick me up at 5:30 a.m. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. So technically I didn't sleep that much. I wouldn't, but yeah, it wouldn't have been that bad if I slept properly the night before I flew. But yeah, I was struggling, but I made it there, and it was a small group of people. A lot of them were ex-military. There was a guy there that supposedly works for the State Department, and he's like been busy working with the conflict that's been going on in the Middle East right now. So it was a room of really interesting people, let's just say, and they all had gray hair. So they were all older than me, and they were like just smashing me. Like, I mean, I was partially like half asleep, but still like they had really good jujitsu, and I did not expect that, honestly, because I've never really heard of this school until recently. But I will definitely go back. Maybe not for a morning class, but I'll definitely go back because it was really, really fun. Their jujitsu was really on point, and these guys were smashing me. One guy had a freaking cast on his leg while I was rolling with him. And I'm trying to not like press or do a knee slicer on that side of the leg. So it was just a really interesting group. Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you had fun out there. Did you learn anything different? Any new techniques? What?
Again, I was half asleep. So no, I wouldn't say so, but I don't know if you know, I think you know, but I've been trying to get the butterfly guard working, right? And it works better in no gi, but then again, I don't like no gi, so I haven't really been trying it out in no gi. But I was trying to make it work for the gi for like at least 6 or 7 months now. People just keep passing my butterfly guard. I'm just gonna keep doing it because it's pretty easy on my knees. And in one round, I ended up with a black belt that was running the class, and he gave me some really good suggestions and tips on how to practice it better. So I wouldn't say it's a new technique, but he basically was like, well, you should try this. And
that's nice.
That helped you out. Yeah. Yep.
All right, cool. I'm glad you had a fun trip. I'm glad you had fun training at 6 a.m. in the morning, technically 3 a.m. LA time. Yeah. That's crazy. I swear, when you told me that, I was like, he's dead. He's going to get messed up.
I didn't even notice.
I expect you'd come back limping. I expect you'd come back limping, the arm broken or something. I don't know what happened.
I didn't even realize that until you messaged me. He's like, so your body's going to think it's like 2:30 or something. I'm like, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
The first thing I thought when you told me that, I was like, he does know he's 3 hours ahead in time, right? But it is what it is. I'm glad you went out there. I'm glad you had fun. Train judo. That's always great when you go out places traveling.
If you're in a DC area, I highly, like last time I went went to, I never can pronounce it. Kogaon Academy, which was run by Sensei Vasile, and that was in Shirlington. I really liked it. Great group of people. They do both BJJ and judo, so I would definitely go back. But the schedule didn't match up, so I didn't go this time. And I've never been to High Noon, so I decided to go to High Noon. That's another great spot. And I think the next time I might want to visit 50/50, which is where Nick DiPapolo is now. So the next time I'm back, if Nick DiPapolo, because he's been moving around every other year, it seems like, but as far as I know, he'll be there for a while. So I'm interested in going to 50/50 next time, and maybe Sport Judo or Arlington Judo. So I met up with a long time old member we had from Hollywood Judo. He joined the military. That's why he left Hollywood Judo, and he's been stationed right now in Arlington. Or not Arlington, that's his club, just in DC, the DC area, right? And he's like, well, my club is Arlington Judo, but I have work today, so he had to go to the Pentagon for work. And I said I'll meet up with him at his judo club, Arlington Judo Club, because they're running an in-house tournament, not in-house, just a tournament, So I went to Arlington Judo, met some of the instructors there, and like I saw Sensei Vasile, and then there's a guy that I didn't tell you this, but I think his name was Brian too. Not like his name was Brian, and he visited our club earlier in the year in the summer, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he came up to me and was like, "Hey, Anthony." And I'm like, I honestly did not remember him. But then he was like, "Yeah, I visited Hollywood in the summer." I was like, "Oh yeah, now I remember," because he called and this is why I don't remember him, because I don't remember his face, but I picked up the phone.
Oh, okay.
And he also realized that was around the time when I had the surgery on my wrist. Mm-hmm. So he was like, "How's your wrist doing?" And I was like, "Oh, it's around that time when I couldn't train." That makes sense. So it was just really interesting meeting all of these people that I wasn't going to meet up with, but it just like randomly
it just happened.
Them at a tournament.
Yeah.
It just happened. Yeah. So this is why I love judo, man. Like traveling anywhere, surprise.
Well, it's a thing I tell the beginners all the time. Like judo, it's a community. It's like once you learn judo, you get a belt rank and stuff. You can do judo anywhere. Just learn the language, learn how to act properly and stuff. Also,
yeah, learn English.
Yeah. Well, just learn English. Just learn judo language. You know, go to any dojo. You can train anywhere. You can do judo anywhere. That's how we are. It's not like with karate and stuff. I can't do karate at every dojo. They're gonna not believe me or something, or MMA club. There's this thing about judo. It's a family. There's just a huge family thing. You know, as long as you do judo, you can practice anywhere, and that's the great thing about it. So that was a very interesting story. We just went off on right there talking about Robert and then all this and that. But hopefully we get him on the show. I'm glad you're having fun on your trips and stuff. It sounds like a great time. Let's talk about some more.
I'll be on a trip again in like a month. So
you're going to be doing some judo in Singapore and India. Yeah. I can't wait for those stories.
I wasn't going to do India, but funny enough, one of the senseis I met at the tournament this time was a high level national competitor in India. And he was talking about how judo is really popular in India, which I did not know. So he recommended me to train there. So I might actually look into it a little more seriously this time.
Cool. Why not? So let's talk about some judo news. So some people may or may not know, we don't cover tournaments that much on the show because they tend not to do that well. I don't know why, but
we covered the rules last one, which I already was kind of like cut short because there's a repeat and didn't do really well. So either people are still in holiday mode right now and haven't gotten to that episode yet, or people are just like, fuck the IJF. Like,
fuck the IJF. Some are like that. But this past weekend was the Tokyo Grand Slam. It's one of the biggest tournaments of the year. It's one of the top ones. And we're not going to go.
Paris,
we're that in Paris are like the two biggest Grand Slams, you know. I know there's other Grand Slams. I'm not slandering them or nothing. I'm just saying, like, come on. Everyone knows all about Tokyo and Paris, all right? So I'm just going to go over some things that happened, some more interesting stuff. Not going to go over every match, but as we all know, one of me and Anthony's favorite players right now, Krista Taguchi, she took gold at the tournament. Really impressive. In this past year, she's gotten to world championships and now this one, and she won another Grand Slam as well. So she has 2 Grand Slams underneath her belt and world champions. So
two world championships too.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying though for this year. So our next episode, we do our not best of, we do our little picks and stuff. She's pretty much got my vote. She's my player of the year.
About time.
Jay, this year she's impressed me, okay? Hey, she impressed me this year, all right?
She's been pretty consistent. It's just she's not. And we'll talk about it next episode. We'll talk about next episode and stuff. Like, hey, I'm still a fan of Agnabui. Like, she's still like, I think one of the best female players in the world and stuff. But Krista, she's killing it this year, okay? And other than that, we can't talk about them without talking about the Abe brother and sisters. They both took gold. What a surprise, all right? You're out there kicking ass in Japan. What else do you expect from them? You know? I'm just sad that Maruyama Abe matchup is probably not going to happen anytime soon again. So
I feel bad for him, but Maruyama and he's I don't know if he might come after me or not. If I go visit my friend.
Only thing that if Abe gets injured, then we might be able to see Maruyama have a shot. So that's not that I'm saying I want Abe to get injured. Though I
not that I'm saying I want him to get injured, but
I wouldn't mind, but I'm not saying I hope
I wouldn't mind. Yeah. Oh my God, Anthony. God. So those kind of the female highlights. Of the men highlights, it was in the 60 kilo category, we had was it Takato? Not Taka. I can never say his name correctly. Yep. Versus Ryuju. Ryuju, is that how you say his name? First name Ryuju. So it was all Japan final right there, and Ryuju won, and it's pretty much signifying.
Nagayama is his last name, by the way. Ryuichi Nagayama.
Yeah. So you want to, whatever, Maruyama, what? Pretty much just signifies like it's the end of his time and it's a new era coming. Okay. Because at the end of the match, like there wasn't a whole like ending ceremony or like I'm full on retiring, but he basically, I can never say his name right. Takato.
You can say Takato, yeah.
Yeah, I say Takato. So Takato told him like, this is your time now. I expect you to go to Paris and take gold, represent Japan, take the mantle or take the torch, whatever you want to say it. Mm-hmm. It's now your time. So I wonder if this is him just fully on retiring, like this might be his last tournament, or if he might still do some like Grand Prix still or some Grand Slams. If he's already saying like, I want you to go, should he step aside and be like, hey, you go get the points now. All right, I'm done. This is my last time. Hey, taking silver at this tournament ain't nothing to sneeze at. All right.
I'm pretty sure he's racked up some injuries over the years. I've seen some of his clips, and honestly, I was never really a fan of Takato's judo. Mm-hmm. It does have a really strong Eastern European influence on it. If you watch his fights, he does the front uchimata, he does grip fighting. But the main reason I'm not a fan of him is because he plays the strategy a lot in the Shido game, and him and I think it was Aaron Wolf, and don't quote me on it, likes to do the thing where they turn the back on the ref and then hide the lapel kind of thing a lot. So he does a lot of little stuff like that makes me not a huge fan of him. And this is when during the last Olympic cycle, when him and Nagayama were fighting for that spot, and Nagayama just has like, I don't want to say traditional in Japanese judo, but like he has that like going for the ippon mentality, actually fighting, and I'm not saying it's unfair, but like in a clean way. So I'm more fan of that style of judo. But sadly, he just didn't have the results to back it up like Nagato does. So definitely, I'm glad that in that weight category, Nagayama's judo and his attitude in general I have always been a fan of it. And I think the reasoning why I didn't watch the finals, because again, I don't have judo TV, but I watched some matches that were available on YouTube. And if you can see, Nagayama was able to beat a lot of the Eastern European, like Azerbaijan and Georgian style of judo, because they kept trying to go for whatever we know why to do it, but they try to go for over the back grips and Georgian grips and stuff like that. And he just ducks under, goes behind, and does a huge uranage counter, and that helped him win a couple of times. So I think that in the past, that was that lack of ability to counter the grip fighting of that style was what held him back, because he has a beautiful throws otherwise, other than that, once he gets a grip on you. But now that he's able to figure a way around that, I think was one of the big reasons why he was able to win.
Yeah, so he's the player to look out for, just someone to keep in your mind in the future, because it's only, God, is it next year? 2024, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's next summer, yeah. So it's actually, God, it's not even next year. It's like fucking like 6 months away.
I actually got the offer from someone to go to the Paris Olympics. Like they had tickets, but I refused because I just don't like. I'm sorry, I don't like Paris.
I mean, you don't like anywhere, man. Shit, you don't like no sponsors for us.
I like France. Especially, before COVID, I was supposed to go to the Breton region in France. I like the countryside of France, but Nice, I like Nice a lot too. But I just don't like Paris, and apparently other people from outside of Paris in France have the same sentiments as me. They don't like Parisians. I'm
gonna tell a Parisian we know then about that
at our dojo. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of told him one time in the locker room, like, I don't really like Paris, and he was like, why not? It's one of the best countries and one of the best cities in the world, and like you have to train judo in Paris, like.
Yeah, where else are you gonna train judo at?
In the countryside, at a small church somewhere. I don't know.
At a small church somewhere. But that Mongolian guy, another person to look out for, because they're a damn mad dog fight. I can remember his name. Like he has this really Mongolian name, but he took silver at the 66 category. That's what it was. Yeah, 66. I had to mark down right there. 66. But man, he just has such this mad dog, dirty style that it's like, I like watching his judo.
I was going to say that's like something you like.
No, but it's like, I like watching his judo, but I don't like watching him win. This is like the most sort of, I love watching this guy fight, but I watch him to fight because I want to see him. Like, it's like, I don't want him to win though. But he took silver. Like, I'm like so happy for this guy, you know? I'm like, yeah, dirty, getting the dirt, dog style fighting right there. Love that.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think other than day one when a few of the Japanese got fucked over, which is namely Nagayama, no, not Nagayama, not Nagase, Nagase and Hashimoto. There's that arm lock, Wakikatame like movement that happened, that the guy got away with and through Hashimoto. That's one. And then if you haven't seen it, look at how Nagase got his third Shido. The guy put his hand over Nagase's head.
It was where he put it right over the top. Yeah. He really had no choice to go either or direction.
Yeah. And then he didn't even have a grip. He just kind of brushed the back of his head, his hair. And Nagase just slipped to one side. And then like even the ref didn't notice, but I think on the headset, they're like, give him Shido. Like,
get him out of here.
So they stopped halfway. And he's like, what? So he got a third Shido for quote unquote ducking when the guy didn't even have a grip and he went straight down. So what I really want to know, what do you do then if someone puts their hand behind your head from the top, like this?
Yes.
What I do? Do I just keep it there?
Well, don't go towards the armpit side. Well, don't go underneath it. Don't go armpit side.
The thing is, he didn't even go underneath it. The guy tried to grab something and it slipped and it went to so the guy moved his arm. It's not like he ducked under it.
Hey, just don't go to the armpit side.
We already just went over the referee thing last episode, so I'm not going to go on rant again. Yeah.
What did you think about? So normally when they do the tournaments, it's like the first 3 weight classes and the second 3 weight class. They usually go up in weight. This time they changed it up. It was like we had like one middle, one light, one middle, one heavy.
I think it's more interesting.
It was really difficult for me to keep up because I was like, what do you mean they're fighting today? Just fighting the last day. Why are they up there right now? What's going on? I'm so confused. Really messed me up there for a day. Then I figured out like, oh, they're gonna one light, one middle, one heavy each day. Okay, I get it now. I'm so stupid. But yeah, it's one of the bigger tournaments of the year. Check it out. I know it's hard to find. It's easier to find highlights nowadays since none of us want to buy Judo TV. Even Anthony, the blue demon dragon lion, whatever the hell it is.
If they fix the refereeing calls, I would totally pay $100. But I hate paying $100 to watch like 3 or 4 events a year and then just get pissed off and just turn it off. You know, like
it's pretty expensive for a streaming service. $100. That's a lot.
Yeah. But we don't want to go too long about it. But Morale like dominated. He fought that. What was that Russian guy that me and Philippe like? With a really funny looking Uchimata. Trying to find it right now. Igolnikov. He has that like
the skip up one.
I'm trying to think. There was this anime or a cartoon where these robots are hopping on one leg and kick with the other. So it kind of reminded me of that. That if you're, I don't even remember where it was from, but he has this weird Uchimata style, and Morale was able to, I think, if I remember correctly, use the grips to change the weight distribution and basically stop that Uchimata from coming in. It was really interesting. So he's going to have to find a way around it if he wants to beat him again next time. And the other thing I was really impressed by was Dota Arai, the minus 100 athlete.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly, he just won the Junior World Championships.
Yeah,
so he's like and then now he's like here fighting some of the best people.
Yeah, I don't think he was expected. I think they put him out there to see what he would do.
Yeah,
but they didn't expect him to take second place. There was just like, wow, okay, he's in second place. Shit.
Yeah, and he's really freaking strong. Like it's insane, which I'm a little worried about because the last few really strong, not plus 100 kilo people have gotten hurt. And I think it has something to do with how explosive they are. Like, what was his name? The other monster just came back from knee surgery. We got his name. There's
Not
a couple
Aaron
of
Wolf. No,
not
right?
Aaron Wolf is
No.
plus 100.
Yeah.
No, Aaron Wolf is minus 100.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He's minus
yeah.
100.
So no, there was another guy that just came back from injury, but he's like another Shohei Ono type of like freaking crazy strong. So yeah, I was definitely gonna keep an eye on him. I would put him on my fantasy judo team if that's a thing.
fantasy judo. We create that fantasy judo league.
Someone created it. It just wasn't.
Did they?
Really, it just wasn't very good. So
Okay.
yeah, but
We need Tatami Talk sponsored fantasy judo league.
yeah, Dota and I definitely go watch the matches. I think that was my favorite athlete to watch this tournament. So
All right. So that was that tournament. Go check it out. Like I said, find highlights on YouTube or Instagram or Twitch. Where you look
we
up
were going to
nowadays.
talk about the Klimkate call because a lot of people said it was not the Klimkate versus Lima call.
You want to talk about that? You're
Yeah,
sure?
a lot of people
You wanna
said
get
it just really short. Like a lot of people on Reddit, especially or YouTube, said it's not a score, and I only saw it from that one camera angle that's been posted on the internet because I don't have the subscription. If you have the subscription, you can see the second camera angle. But just based on the angle, it's a Wazadi. Like even though initially the landing was not on the side at the 90-degree angle, which is the requirement, but she got rolled onto that 90-degree angle in one continuous driving movement. So again, like I don't know why people just don't read the rules. So it's like I understand you think
they just see highlights and look at stuff and just the whole thing of like, well, did she continue to roll? Did she not? Who knows or not? Like if you watch a fight, you would know. But yeah, even I agree that, it is Wazadi. You know, she hit the ground. Yeah, it wasn't at 40. It was at 45 or more belly down than it was straight on its side. But she continued the one single movement, which isn't Ippon, but that's Wazadi. And this is, remember the rules. Back in the day, that would have been Yuko. And remember, the whole thing was like, oh, well, there's such a slim difference between Yuko and Wazadi. Just give Wazadi. Well, that's what happens. This is exactly what happens.
Yeah, this is actually a higher requirement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Than before. Like before the 90-degree angle clarification, that roll wasn't required. It would have been still a Wazadi.
Yeah.
Like, so now it's like you actually need to do that roll. But
continuation.
Yeah, like it's one thing to argue that it's dumb or not, but it's another thing to just like say it's a bad call according to the rules, which it is not. So it's I was talking to someone about it and about ecological stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I just kind of gave up talking to certain people about it because you can't even get them to read the rules. How am I going to get them to read these books about the subject? So yeah.
No, like I said before in our rules episode, like you and me, we're a different breed, man. We go out there, we watch all these videos, we learn all these things, and we still have refs argue with us about stuff that just got clarified last week. And they're still like, no, Juan, that's not the rules. Like, okay, whatever you say, boss. I'm not going to argue with you. So with that, let's talk about other things where people have an iron fist on. So Anthony sent me a Reddit thread about my BJJ dojo, my academy. I mean, sorry, they don't call them dojo.
BJJ
academy.
Club
academy,
instructor or something. That's the title.
Whatever. Academy professor, whatever, has banned judo in BJJ. Banned judo in our BJJ school, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Classes. And I was like, so they're not going to teach BJJ no more? Because BJJ is just judo.
I was like, so my first reaction was like, so it's just leg locks only now and butt scooting?
So what are you guys doing then? I think that's everything.
And leg locks.
I believe that's everything you guys do is just judo newaza. So if you ban judo, then what you guys do? Thumb wars? What you guys do?
So butt scoot, leg locks, and then also just let people pin you. I guess.
I guess, or single legs maybe. I guess because you call that more wrestling than judo, but. Whatever. So their thing was that their dojo, Anthony, you explain actually since you read the full.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a clickbait title. If you actually read not even the original post, but the comments, he kind of clarifies over time. It's like, oh, brown and black belts could still do it. And then what was something I don't want to pull up the thread again because honestly I thought it was I honestly thought it was a pretty dumb thread. But
I thought it was funny when I got sent to it. I thought it was hilarious.
So I just thought it was funny to send it to you, but I wasn't going to actually read all the comments and what he said. But the other thing was he was mostly talking about high amplitude throws, like ogoshi, and which is not high amplitude, but anything where you
well, it's the uchimata, harai goshi, hana goshi, koshiguruma,
osotogari,
ogoshi, osotogari, big judo amplifier or impact throws. We call them big throws in judo stuff. But so basically, just taking out all those big throws that they don't know how to do properly and they don't know how to fall properly, so they're hurting themselves.
Yeah, here's the dumb thing, right?
Yeah,
no mention of Tani Otoshi, which is like the number one knee destroyer. Mm-hmm. No mention, and the other thing he said was like, "Oh, sacrifice throws are still okay." So I'm like,
well, because I guess sacrifice throw. If I go in for a Makikomi or any type
that thread.
Well, the thing if I go for any type of Makikomi, you really don't have a chance, or I'm not letting you put your arm out at all. Mm-hmm. And like, this is just a weird thing to say to people, but it's truth. In my opinion, I think it's true. A good Makikomi doesn't even hurt. You don't feel it. It's like sometimes I get more hurt from a big uchimata, someone landing on me, than someone pulling me from Makikomi. It's just rolling on the ground for the most part. Like I rarely get hurt with Makikomis.
But I'm just wondering how you can ban all that stuff, but not Tani Otoshi and sacrifice throws. And also no osotogari. Like I understand like if you do it wrong, but that's such a basic movement that everyone in BJJ does it, even if they've never been taught. So
here's the thing. How about instead of banning it, you teach it correctly, those moves, or B, you learn how to fall properly. That way you won't get hurt. How about that?
Yeah.
I know a lot of BJJ places don't do that because you guys always start off like you people. Like, no, it's just, they always start off on the ground. They always start off like shake hand, blah, 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 both sit down on the mat and you start from there. So they don't focus a whole lot on doing proper ukemis because we get a lot of BJJ guys that will come to our dojo. Oh, I'm a purple belt. I'm a blue belt. And they want to come to our dojo. We let them do the intermediate class. And it's like, all right, guys, do your forward ukemis. And they're all doing ninja styles. They're all rolling their knees. They're all going to hurt themselves. Or they'll get thrown and they don't know how to fall correctly. And they'll put their arm out a little bit. It's very scary. But it's like, it's up to the dojo, the academy, my bad, up to the academy to teach you how to fall right. And I know it's not fun. I know it's not the glamorous part that people want to do, but you have to do this. That's how we do that in judo. That's how you spend a long time, learn how to fall properly from a low height, from a high height, from a medium height. It's just something you have to do.
Yeah. And this is where I'm also confused, right? So he says no hip throws, no hip throws, inside trips, outside trips, osoto, I guess sotogari, all not allowed. Foot sweeps are still okay. So as far as I know, in most BJJ clubs, especially if they don't teach or know judo, they think everything's a foot sweep. They don't differentiate between they don't differentiate between a reap, a sweep, and a hook and all that kind of stuff like we do in judo.
Yeah.
So
like, that means there'd be no kochigari wouldn't be allowed and ochigari wouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, inside trips, outside trips, right? So all of that. So I understood, but I assume when they say foot sweeps, they mean like deashi and okudeashi. So where do you draw the line between a deashi and a weight transferring kouchigari? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, you know, the one that Philippe does, which is really close to a foot sweep, but it's like from the inside. It's kind of like a deashi from the inside and instead of the outside. So where do you draw the line between that? And then also like, where do you draw the line between wrapping your leg from the outside, like kosotogake, wrapping the leg from the outside, and also just a sweep? You know, like
you're asking me as a judo player to define
it's
this.
It's rhetorical. It's rhetorical.
We can. Here's the problem: they probably can't. They can't because they don't know. They didn't learn it properly. They didn't learn these things. And I know I'm gonna get some heat for this, but yeah, you guys didn't learn how to do. Like I got some guys that'll come in and show me like, oh, I know Taitoshi, and it's this ugly thing that they think is Taitoshi. Or was like last week when I was watching the PFL, Kayla did this really cool uchimata, and it's called, I don't know what they call, like this hip turnover thing they called it or something else. And I was like, no, that was uchimata she did, but whatever. But they don't know the difference. They just know blatant, like, what's it from? Kochigari and Ochigari. That's just too much. When you do a hard Kochigari, somebody, they hit their head. Well, it's your fault that you didn't teach your players how to tuck their chin when they fall down the ground. Oh, the hard Ochigari, someone else broke their arm because they put their arm out. Well, that's your fault because you didn't teach them to take the fall right with a 45-degree hand slapping the mat. Instead, no, they get scared, so they put their arm out and going to break it. All right. Again, this is your responsibility as an instructor to teach your members how to fall correctly. And if you want to do that, if you just want to focus on all the Newaza ground stuff, that's your fault if a BJJ guy or a wrestler comes in and throws you guys. All right.
Yeah. If safety is a concern, I just find it really weird that you're not banning sacrifice throws. Like saying sacrifice throws are okay. And also most people don't know exactly what a sacrifice throw is anyway, but but I don't want to dwell on that post because do you have anything to add? Because I think the main topic we're going to talk about is about just banning techniques in the dojo for safety, right?
Yeah. So it's just one of those things, like, this is what they're doing to save their players. And I'm getting a little heated about it. Is they're doing to protect their players. And I totally get that.
In a dumb way, I think. I would call it.
And there's nothing wrong with wanting to protect your players. There's nothing wrong with you limiting moves to certain people. There's certain things that we don't have our yellow belts and orange belts do, but we allow them once you get to green and blue. And, when they get higher, they're allowed to do certain things. There's moves that I like to do that I really don't like teaching people until I feel it ready. Like I like doing Tanya Toshi a lot. Okay. I'm really good Tanya Toshi, but I know if I teach it to people, they're going to do something totally different and wrong than what I'm going to teach them. And that's why there's certain things where dojos and schools and countries, federations have banned stuff. In the UK, they're not allowed to do youths or children are not allowed to do koshiguruma, right?
Oh, for a while, but it's allowed now. There are just a lot of people that are saying it should be banned.
Yeah. In the US for a little while, I don't know if it was USA Judo or USGF or USJF, which
it was mostly Nanka, actually.
Was it just a Nanka thing?
Yeah.
Nanka decided that young people should not do koshiguruma as well. They agreed on that.
Drop knee. Anything
drop seonagi's was always drop seonagi's.
Anything that was a drop knee, including koshiguruma.
Koshigurumas and stuff. There was even for a short time, Nanka did this really weird, dumb rule.
Until we had an episode about it. It ended up being pretty dumb and you can't really enforce it properly. So
yeah. No, but there was a thing where for a while, as before you were in California, you're probably still in college at this time, maybe, because I think I was maybe still a brown belt or was I a black belt then by then? I don't know. Maybe I was a black belt by then. It was a long time ago. Nanka decided that ladies should not be allowed to do arm bars. For some weird reason, they decided all the women division, white, brown, black, senior, novice, all that stuff, that ladies weren't allowed to do arm bars. And that lasted for like maybe 6 months before people got pissed off and was like, so we're going to limit our ladies to what they can do. Very sexist. Very, very sexist. I did not understand that. I know a lot of coaches got mad about it. It's like, well, we're protecting their arms from what? What are lady joints more softer than men joints? What is this BS right here? All right. So I get that. They think in their head that they're protecting people. Okay. I know certain clubs won't allow stuff. Like, Anthony in his class, even though they shouldn't be doing it anyways, does not allow to do Tanya Toshi, which white and yellow belt. They shouldn't learn it anyway. They shouldn't know what it is.
Well, I tell them that they're not allowed because a lot of people do it by instinct. Like, they just do it out of instinct, not out of knowing how to do the technique. So I tell them specifically the two moves I ban. Well, I also say no dropping, no falling on top of your partner. So you have to stay standing when you finish the moves. And then the other one is Tanitoshi and Kosoto Gake. And Gari, I guess, like Kosoto Gari or Gake, where you wrap your leg from the outside on your opponent's leg. So those are the three things I don't allow in my class.
Mm-hmm. So Anthony, what do you think about dojos or federations or countries banning moves and protection of their students or members?
So federation wise, I don't think there's a good way. Mostly has to do with enforcement. Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to enforce it correctly, right? So, for example, saying no Tani Otoshi, at what line, where do you draw the line between Tani Otoshi and just like a outside leg trip? Like any sort of outside leg trip, right? Like Kosotogari, Kosotogake, or even what was it? Nidan Kosotogari. Like, what happens if they did that and it just happened to fall at the same time? So the referees would have to be able to enforce it correctly. So I'm not going to dive into that topic.
Oh, Andy's getting heated. He just knocked his mic over right now. He's pissed.
I'm not going to dive into that topic, but in terms of the dojo, I think this is a bad. The BJJ post is a good example of how to not enforce it correctly. Because again, if you don't know anything about stand up, which clearly this professor or whatever doesn't know anything about stand up, sacrifice throws are definitely infinitely more dangerous than banning ogoshi. You know, like the reason you would probably ban that is because you can hip throw someone and land on top of them and break a rib, which is what I don't do. When I throw someone, I don't land on top of them. And that's usually why they take my back, because I don't land on top of them. So just outright banning it instead of saying, hey, if someone throws you with a hip throw, don't land on your partner, right? That's already much safer. And then tell them, if someone throws you with a hip throw, don't take advantage of that to take their back because they're just being nice to you. Like, that's a good middle ground, right? Or you can just do what most other clubs do, which is start from the ground. Or just say only double legs and single legs. That's better than saying you can't do these, but then you can do sacrifice throws. Like, I'm assuming, like, I mean, I heard someone the other day from Drop Seminage. Like, you were there.
Yes, I was there.
Yeah, so stuff like that is allowed, but then like also Tagadi is not allowed. Like, what? So you really have to be educated in takedowns in the first place to be able to say no. There's no this and no that. Now, if you're not educated, then either consult the statistics, because if you've been teaching long enough, then you can see what the most common injuries are. Tani Otoshi, for example, everyone agrees that's the most dangerous white belt technique that a white belt can do. So either consult the statistics or ask someone who knows, like, and talk to them and ask for suggestions. Like, hey, I only have this much room in my club. That's another thing, right? If you have a smaller club, which a lot of BJJ clubs are, then maybe certain things aren't good. Like Tomoe Nage, throwing someone backwards, like laying on your back and throwing someone. Takes up a lot of room.
Dojo, we have a good sized dojo. And there'd be times where I'll be like, I'm gonna throw somebody, and I see someone like at the corner of my eye, walk right behind, like they're fighting behind me. I'm like, God damn, I can't throw right now because I don't want to throw them on that person. Shit, I just missed my spot.
Yeah, and when I went to Japan to train, like I don't know why. It's not like they don't practice it, because I've seen them do it on YouTube and stuff. But all the places I've been to, no one does sacrifice throws. So, like, not even at the Kodokan, other than the foreign visitors, right? I don't see people doing drop Seonage. They weren't doing Tomoe Nage. Nobody did Tani Otoshi. So, like, I don't know what it is, but maybe it's a safety factor. So there's the cultural aspect of it too. But this is the thing. If you're going to ban something, you also need to teach the students why you're banning it. That's, I think, is really important, because then otherwise you're going to get some dumbass that's like, okay, I got my brown belt, I can do sacrifice throws now. And then now you just start doing it without ever practicing it or knowing the dangers of it, right? So this is why sometimes I know I'm not supposed to teach Shiny Otoshi to white belts, but I tell them, hey, if you do this, this is what happens. Like, and also you'll see most people on YouTube, I'll say, don't teach Tani Otoshi correctly. They'll say a lot of things like, oh, if you do it like this, is safe. If you do it like this, is safe. But it's like against a non-resisting opponent. And if you take those same Tani Otoshi instructional videos with no resistance, and then tell Uke to take a step backwards with the leg that's closest to the tori, immediately you can see how it's going to snap the knee. So it's not safe the way they're teaching it. So I think it's really important to teach people what the dangers are, how it happens, and how to do it correctly. And most of the time, just like any other technique, right? Doing it safer is not always competitively more viable.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because think about Tani Itoshi. If I do a bad Tani Itoshi at a tournament and snap someone's leg, am I still winning? And
Yes.
that's still, yeah, right? Yes. Exactly.
Yes.
So where's the incentive to teach these techniques correctly and do them correctly? And when there's no incentive to do these techniques correctly, other than not being a psycho, because there are some people that would be like, oh, that's just part of the sport. If you're going to compete, you know what you're signing up for. So I'm not saying that all people like that are psycho, but when you have that mentality and you want to protect the players at your dojo, then you have to tell them, hey, if you do a safer, then it's not as competitively viable. If you're going to competition, people are going to do it like this to you, and this is how you keep it safe. And most of the time is to not that common answer is just take the fall, but you can't really what do you say? Get prepared for that, take the fall, because sometimes you just can't. Like what happened to my knee, I took the fall, but I got my legs got trapped. I couldn't take the fall. So what they should really teach is how to avoid getting into that situation in the first place. Right? Like if you watch Shintaro,
it's not about teaching people how to avoid it. It's just teaching the technique properly first, you know?
Yeah, that's step one. Yeah.
People teaching techniques they don't know. You know, so when you get people just doing stuff they see on YouTube, asking questions and stuff. And when it comes to a BJJ academy, yes, you guys are going to have all these great things for Newaza, these amazing techniques, these balaclava rolls and all this other stuff. It's going to be great for Newaza. All right. But a lot of them don't have good tachiwaza. That's just how it is. They have they kind of know how to do throws. They don't know how to fully do throws, or they know how to kind of do a BJJ double leg or single leg, which it's easy to teach someone to double leg and single leg. Look at wrestling. Look at wrestling in every high school. Okay. You give me a guy that doesn't know how to wrestle, I could teach him how to do a single and a double within 3 or 4 weeks, have him competing in a month with just that, a double, single, and a half Nelson. Easy, simple, direct to the point. Where it takes time to learn how to do a proper uchimata. It takes time to learn how to do a proper harai goshi, not break someone's leg, or taitoshi, to not break somebody's leg when you do it to someone. And the whole thing of learning to control with the throw to not fall on somebody. Okay, not every throw is going to be a makikomi where, like it be in a tournament. When you're at the dojo, you're not throwing and landing on it every time you throw somebody. Okay.
Yep.
So that's just my thing with stuff like this, where it's just people outright banning all judo throws or all big throws because they don't know how to do it. And that seems just like an easy cop out, you know?
Yeah. And it has to be discussed. Well, like I said, if you ban it, you should explain it, and you should also teach it, right? You should teach, just like Kani Basami. That's a little more controversial, but I still think you should teach it, because someone's going to do it eventually.
Okay. Like I do Kanfasami still. Okay. I still practice it for fun sometime. All right.
Yeah,
I love doing
how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I love to do Kami Basami into a knee bar. All right. It's a beautiful, fun throw to do, but I know there's been times where I go to catch. I'm like, man, I could totally Kami Basami this guy, but I know if I do, I'm going to break this guy's leg. I know the way he's moving, he's just going to fall the wrong way. Where you get other moves like reverse seonagi, the Korean version. Okay. The IGF banned it because it's a very dangerous throw to the shoulder.
So that's the other thing. They don't
correctly.
Yeah, they don't also teach. They don't teach why it's dangerous. They just say, "Oh, there's high injury rates," and then people just keep doing it anyway at the local level, and because they don't understand the dangers. And if you understand the dangers, then you can allocate the risks properly. So, we were gonna make a video about it, but reverse seonage. Like if you understand how
we've had to explain it to our own students of like, why is it dangerous? People are like, why? It's so easy. It's like, no, because look at why it is. If I don't get this guy's arm correctly, or if he fights it too much, look at his elbow, look at his shoulder. What am I twisting and rolling on right here? Exactly. Think about it.
And then if you understand it, then you can do it in a manner, like if the guy has literally no grips on you, then you can do it, right? Because it's not going to trap anything. Then you can do it safely. But then if you do it, no matter what grip you don't understand it, you just do it whenever he has a grip on you, then there's a risk of you breaking the guy's shoulder or his wrist. So, which is same thing with Udagaishi. That's one of the problems with just banning techniques by names is because now there's a safe version and an unsafe version. And the problem is most people, especially in BJJ, have been demonstrating the unsafe version, but nobody's showing the safe version. So now they're just like, okay, Udegaishi's banned. Because everyone's associating the unsafe version with Udegaishi. So yeah, banning techniques is like, I'm just going to say it. Banning techniques by naming the name is kind of dumb when you should just stick to stuff like banning mechanics, such as like no arm lock throws, right? So instead of saying we're banning wakigatame, which they never officially said, they just said we're banning any standing arm lock throws, which includes wakigatame. Because you're not saying the technique itself is dangerous. You're saying the way you do it while standing arm lock throws are dangerous is what you're saying. Versus just straight up banning a technique is dumb. Which goes back to our reverse Seoinage episode where we discuss whether you should ban or not. Banning reverse Seoinage, which isn't even a technique, right? Yeah. In a Kodokan syllabus, it's not even a technique. Banning it is just dumb, and then someone's going to find another way around it versus just making calls when you see the wrist and arm get trapped. Like
the refs actually doing their job. Whoa, what a concept.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Refs calling something when something's being done illegally properly. Ho.
Yeah, but definitely at the dojo level, there are techniques that are more dangerous. And as an instructor, you need to make it clear instead of just saying, don't do techniques, you should demonstrate the concepts and say, this is dangerous, don't do that. And the concept in my class is to not trap the guy's legs from an outside angle, which is the two throws I talked about. And also I explained to them how the most catastrophic injuries in judo happens when there's uncontrolled falling body weight. So you explain that to them, then they understand why you got to stay standing and try and not land on top of your partner. And it's always better to teach, just like teaching kids. You teach them why you shouldn't do things instead of just telling them, don't do it, right? Or they experience it firsthand. Like,
yeah, here, get just a penny. Go stick it in a socket, see what happens.
But you explain to them. But you explain to them how electricity works.
No. I need some life lessons here. All right, on the ground, boots on the ground. Figure it out.
At the same time, they have to be capable of understanding it in the first place.
So in my class, I don't really ban any throws in my class because I was really focused on learning the individual things and particular things, and I only allow them to do particular things. Because in my class, we don't do much randori. We do Loriako Seiko Geiko, but I usually limit it because if you want to do randori, there's randori class right after my class. What I do limit in my class when I do some Newaza randori is that because I'm teaching mostly citrus colors, that means blue and down. I might get a purple belt every now and then from someone that's visiting. But in my class, I do not allow arm bars.
You said it last night, but blueberry is actually not a citrus, what? Just so you know.
Blueberry's totally citrus.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. How is blueberry not citrus?
Citrus is actually a family of fruits. So,
blueberry. So I might get some blueberries in my class too and stuff. But the one thing in my class that I do ban, or I tell people I don't want them to do when doing the Newaza randori, is arm bars. And my thing is that I don't want people getting used to doing arm bars or going to the arm bars as their main move, because my thing is I want people to get ready and prepare for competition. Now, in the US, arm bars are only allowed for brown and black belt division. Once you're a brown belt, you can arm bar everyone you want to, okay? There are some tournaments, sometimes, that will allow green belts and above, but not a lot. And I've been to some tournaments, like there's one in San Jose State that we went to one year that they allowed that brown belts couldn't do arm bars for some weird reason. I had a whole situation happen there that year. But you have to fight to the rules. So if you get used to just doing arm bars all the time as your go-to, what's going to happen when you go to a competition? You go to a competition, you're on your bottom. Oh, well, what if I just arm bar over here? Or if I try to go from the arm bar? They're going to sell mate, and you either get shield or hansoku make, depending on how bad the arm bar was. Even if you do, and I get arguments with some people sometimes. Well, sensei, what if I just do an arm bar for a sweep? It doesn't matter. The ref doesn't know that you're doing arm bar for a sweep. They're just seeing you do the arm bar. So you're going to get mate, shield, or hansoku make. All right. That's why I don't allow them. And it's easier. And for me, I want you to get used to doing what you're going to do in competition. You're going to go for chokes in competition. You're going to go for pins in competition. All right. Now, if I was teaching the brown and black belt class or the more advanced class, I let them do arm bars because that's what they're going to do in competition. But that's why I say no arm bars. I know some people get mad when I say that to them. They're like, oh, well, in my jujitsu class, like, I'm not teaching jujitsu right now. I'm not teaching BJJ. I'm not teaching sambo. I'm not teaching catch right now. All right. I'm teaching judo for judo rules. My goal is to get you to go compete, do well, not get shield and not waste money being there. Okay. I want you to do well. Okay. So that's why some people get mad at me when I yell at them. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going for an arm bar. Why? He's a yellow belt. Why are you arm barring a yellow belt for? You want to look like a big man on campus right now? You want to feel good about yourself? That's my thing. When it comes to why I ban moves. Well, the only move I ban in my class is arm bars, even though I do teach them. Yep. I do teach them to everybody. But remember, when you do randori in my class, Newaza randori, there's no armbar techniques allowed.
Which goes to a better discussion. A better point is just how I think that banning arm bars for novice is antiquated and should really be done away with. And you wouldn't have to do that. It's really, BJJ has shown that you can teach it beginners and kids safely.
I think it's a thing with kids. It's the whole thing. Like they want kids like they don't know what's going on, so they yank too hard and dislocate it. There's one thing because the kids
I'll
do
agree
it.
To disagree
we have to
with
make
kids.
It's like we have to do it for kids, so that way to make it equal, we have to do it for adults as well, so it doesn't look like we're favoritism anybody.
Yeah.
But look at Nanka. Like I said, 10 years ago, they decided no ladies should do arm bars for some reason.
So the way I do it I teach arm bars in my class too, right? And to beginners.
Yeah.
The way I do it is I teach them how to finish an arm bar from an already prepared finishing position. There's no entry. You start off already in like the arm extended, and then I have them practice slowly finishing the arm bar and getting a feel of where you stop, and also seeing who the psychos are that just like crank it, right? And then I separate them from there. But
and you put the cycles all together, and you're like, you cycles go kill each other.
But after that, after they feel that, I tell them to the mechanics of finishing armbar, which I myself needs to practice this more, because I noticed that recently people get out on my arm bars just because I do put my leg, toward the closest leg to the head, on top of the head and on the face, but I don't press down hard enough so people are able to get up.
Pinching the knees either.
I think I got the pinching the knees now, but it was mostly the head thing. So because I went to BJJ last month. I think that was the last time I went, and in my club, my own club, I caught this blue belt in an arm bar like 10 times, but he kept getting out of it. So that's when I'm like, okay, I need to practice smashing his head down more because I'm a little too nice. But I have my beginners start in that position, and I tell them you're not allowed to extend the arm to finish the arm bar, but the other person you have to try and keep control of the shoulder, keep them smashed down, and then the other person has to get out. That way you get to, practice that escape. Well, the bottom person gets to practice the escape, and the top person managed to practice keeping the control. And that way, you're not breaking the rules of arm barring in a tournament, and two, you're not risking any risks of overshooting the arm bar from novices. And obviously the most important part is understanding how the mechanic for an arm bar works so you can actually escape it. So if you do get caught in it for whatever reason in the future, at least you can fight it. You might not be the best at getting to the arm bar or finishing it, but you're going to be pretty damn good at defending it because of this exercise that we have. And you're going to understand how to apply it. Then when you do get to the level where you're practicing arm bars like brown belt and stuff, then you can start worrying about how to get to the arm bar in the first place, that position.
But then there goes again, like you and me, we explain to our students why it's not allowed. You know, for me, it's, I don't want you guys to get these bad habits.
I tell them it's dumb rules. That's what.
For me, I always tell people, it's like, God, I want you to get in the habit that when you go to tournament, I don't want you going for an arm bar because that's what you're used to. That's what you're developing these habits in class, you know, and I don't want you to develop those habits so when you go in competition, you get disqualified. Well, it's the same thing with the throws. I don't want you to develop bad habits of just muscling a throw over, landing on somebody and hurting them, other than just banging it straight out. You have to explain why. That's my thing. So it goes to our whole thing of why they ban moves and how you should handle it, you know?
Yep. Which like I said, just gotta be a little creative and teach it in a different way where it's safe and you can still get a lot of mileage out of it. If not the whole technique, then at least the defense of the technique.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So is there anything else you want to talk about? Some banned moves or why they're banned or what?
No, I think we're going to bore people because we already talk a lot about banning stuff, and it's kind of repetitive, right? But
yeah,
here we're talking about specifically banning stuff within the dojo and whether you should do it. And I think it really depends. I don't think there's like a one size fits all kind of thing. If you don't have a beginner's advanced program, then you can't really say, well, you can't do it this, you can't do it this way. And a belt system is always flawed, I think, because you're going to have this one guy that's like super athletic, but then he's not ready like to know the names and certain techniques yet to get to the brown belt. But then like you'll have some people that know all the stuff, but they're not really good. So you don't want to give them a brown belt. So it's like the belt system's just not a good idea. So the whole freaking brown belts and below can't do arm bars thing is just antiquated. But yeah, definitely as an instructor, you should make the call and weigh the risks, and also don't just look at guidelines because a lot of times they're dumb. You just need to look at the data and understand the technique well enough so you can make the judgment call and then adjust. Like if you allowed arm bars and all of a sudden 3 people broke their freaking arms in the last year, then you probably should do something different.
Yeah. Teach them how to do it properly. People not to go aggro and break someone's arms or something. Or like I always say in my class, when it comes to submission and stuff, like tap early, tap often. It's okay. It's class. All right. You're not gonna be a gym champion. It's all right. It's okay to tap during class. Like, yes, you should try to fight a little bit, but it's, hey, I'd rather tap than have my arm broken. That's just how I am.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to teach. Well, I'm not supposed to teach drop seoinage in my class. So that's how I hurt the guy, because I assumed, he's been training for X amount of months and he's about to get his orange belt and they're going to do drop seoi in orange belt level. So in the intermediate advanced class, which he has been going. So I thought it was okay to use him as a demonstration, and I dropped him on his head. Like, because he didn't know how to take the fall.
You dropped him on, I have to tell you, he dropped him on his head and headbutt him at the same time. It was a double whammy. It was hilarious. So to me, it was funny. It was like hilarious and scary at the same time.
Yeah. So he didn't know how to take it. And it's because I'm not supposed to teach that. I never go over it. So then they don't never learn how to take those kind of falls. So it's an example of how if you can't teach it, like assume I don't know how to do drop seoi, then probably should ban it. Right. So
in that class for there.
Yeah.
But advanced class you learn.
In my case, like in my case, I'm not supposed to teach it. So I've never taught them to take the fall. And you can't just be like, oh, well, you're this level now, so you should just all of a sudden overnight know how to take that fall. Like that's not like the correct way to go about it.
All right.
Yep.
So that's just our thoughts on banning moves or banning judo in total in your entire class. It's up to you, like Anthony was saying, but
yeah, definitely ban stuff like oil checks and fish hooking.
No. Hey, that's part of wrestling culture right there. Okay, that's wrestling right there. You can't ban an oil check. All right, get 2 fingers deep into you, or was it 2 knuckles deep? Yeah, that's your problem. All right. But you can't even oil check in a gi anyways. I mean, I not like I tried or anything, you know.
I've had it done to me in a gi before.
Oh my God.
In BJJ class. Class.
Oh man, get 2 hooks inside you in the wrong way. Yeah. All right. So please, with that, is there anything else you want to go over, Anthony, before I sign us out?
Ukemi video. By the way, Ukemi video, I did work on it this trip, but probably because of the schedule, it won't be re-recorded until like really close to New Year's or after New Year's. So sorry.
And if you have any suggestions for him going to India or Singapore to do some judo, please let him know. All right. He's very worried about that.
Not Singapore. I actually got a recommendation to train in Singapore already from someone I used to train with that went to school in Singapore. So I already have Singapore lined up.
All right, cool. All right. And with that, again, happy holidays to you. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Kwanzaa. Happy Festivus for the rest of us. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow us at YouTube at Tatami Talk. You can follow us on Instagram at Tatami Talk. You can follow us on Threads at Tatami Talk. You follow me at the Jerry_Juan on Instagram. You follow Anthony on Anthony Throws on Instagram. If you want to send us any questions, things you want to talk about, if the question you want us to ask anybody else when we have special guests, hopefully later in the year or this year or next year, we'll see what happens. You hit us up at tatamitalk@gmail.com. Anthony, is there anything else I'm forgetting?
Nope.
All right. So with that, don't forget to
mark your calendars and when Christmas is. Don't forget to remind me when Christmas is. That's the same thing. Or slap the man.